The cicadas are going. Hello, my name is Kashibaya, and welcome to my forbidden fruits. These, not mine, but these forbidden fruits. I've realized that I start recording, I make a really good point, and then I step into ego, and maybe it's not ego, I believe it's for the highest good of all. But sometimes, if it does step into ego, it doesn't want to come back out of ego. It's going to be another 7 years before we hear the cicadas again. I probably said that on 3 videos if I end up posting any of them. Because like I said, I step into ego, and I want to make sure that everything is the most optimally heard. I say the most optimal information for the highest timeline. I give out the most, that's what I'm trying to do. The message I'm trying to put forth is something positive, uplifting, and brings the most information, the largest helpful, positive epiphany. I'm trying to generate the most love to you. However, I do get insecure about it because I'm not so good at communication at times, so no one gives bad luck. No one has bad luck. Luck, in my opinion, luck is something you either know or you don't know as far as like positive or not. You can't always be in positive flow. However, if something comes out of this conversation wherein I was in my ego, exactly, know that maybe some of the people that are listening to this aren't on the highest frequency and need a little boost. I'm not trying to be shitty to anyone or hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to hurt anyone. I've been hurt enough. I don't even want to borrow yours. I don't want to see you go through it. That's why I'm trying to give this message away. That's why this message is supposed to come through. We either love each other or we don't. It's either, if it's not good if my perception is not seeing a positive outcome or isn't feeling or the right vehicle, it's actually it's a Chevy. But if my information is not in the highest frequency for you, that just means that the fucking flies, man. Sorry. I gotta cuss at that. I don't have to cuss to sell records. I'm just saying. These insects are mad. The distractions are, if you haven't noticed, they're there. If I don't come at you with love, then what am I doing anything for? Sucking air. What's my purpose? Look at all of these spiraling upward staircases. Have you reached your Ouroboros? Have you reached your tightrope? Are you walking your tightrope? Is it really that tight shoe? Do you really want to take it off and be done for? Like Ram Dass says, I think it was his guru that said, dying is like taking off a tight shoe. It's not that you gave up. It's that it's the end of your day. Relax a bit. You don't have to be perfect. Are you trying? 433. Are you trying to be perfect? I used to never hear kids out here. And now I'm hearing children down the road. There's a pig farm too, so I wonder how they feel about the screaming of the pigs when they're, oh man. It's a scary sound, I'll tell you that. But if you do hear that on the videos, that's what it's breaking down to be. But yeah, cicadas, 7 years. Are we still on 7-year cycles? Of course. Are you going to make it to your next? Of course. Are you going to be hoping for the most optimal timeline to be coming within those next 7 years? Of course, but it always gets better. How many 7-year cycles? Go away! It's like my breath must smell like dog shit because they just keep coming to my mouth. The 7 years after that 7 years is going to be fucking amazing. And more optimal, and more optimal, and more optimal for the outcome of all. Because we're finally getting back online with love. We're reprogramming. We're resurrecting. We're coming out of the numb of death, of unfeeling, of unknowing, of faithlessness, of disconnected dreams. 6:22 when I looked at the clock. But dreams aren't always wrong. The lucidity in the city, in the city. Lucid, Lucifer. Are you living a dream? Are you the controller of your dream? Are you the one that's living it? Are you the one playing? Are you the active body experiencing the experience? But did you just come from void, nothing, black? Did you come from bright, blinding light? 7-Eleven. No. And yes. Stardust. It implodes. It comes from the inside, then it goes to the outside, then it sucks it back in. It's a yo-yo. It's a spiral. But in the end, it's your tightrope Ouroboros. Nordic tradition, what does it say about Ouroboros? At the very beginning of the Vikings, the show, she tells a story. Before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I called you by name. That's what the first of Jeremiah or Isaiah? Isaiah. 41st of Isaiah. Sorry. It's in Jeremiah as well, but before you were formed. 8:11 when I looked at it. I knew you, I called you by name. Keep your positivity flowing, even if you're the only one doing it. If your truth is going to hurt someone, ease them into it, but don't withhold it from them. Nothing hurts as much as not knowing, especially when it's not knowing that you are unconditional love. You are the black, you are the gold, you are the silver, you are the white, you are the yellow. You are all colors. But yellow, the sacral, nope, it's the solar plexus. Something in the solar plexus needs to be dealt with. Something in the sacral as well. I wouldn't have slipped up and said sacral. But your creativity, channeling or not, reading the hieroglyphs, the runes, buzzing about your work. What is your work? Buzzing busy like a bee, that's what I was thinking, like work, what do bees do? I don't know, there was another trail of thought that went off somewhere else, but we're no longer insects. We only experienced life as an insect. This isn't that life. And there may have been a billion lives wherein we were an insect, and a billion lives wherein we were a star, a billion lives in wherein we lived on a star. You know, the micro, the macro, insect, the plasma. Lightning, ball, plasma. It creates clarity. Doesn't it? The lightning bolt is an air element. But it is air and water because the clouds have to collide. There has to be anger behind it, right? Or does it just have to be emotion? I have faith that all is well. Because faith is my culmination of truth, consciousness, and love. Those are that's the trilogy. Those are I don't know why I can't think of it. The trilogy, I'm thinking of trilogy because I'm thinking of Matrix. Where it was originally a trilogy, as far as I knew. And I think this year, last year, actually it was 2 years, something about 2 years, 2022. What was it? The trifecta? No, that's like restaurants. Why do they call it a trifecta when it's only 2 restaurants, though? I don't understand. Weird. Anyways, rabbit holes. Trinity. There it is. Trinity and Neo from Matrix. That's why I was thinking of Matrix. That's why I thought trilogy. And it's not a trilogy anymore. 1221. There's more. Maybe you have 3 children. Easing someone into the truth is only necessary, though, if the truth will hurt them. And some of the things I say might not feel good, but they're not meant to hurt. Some of the things I hear hurt, but I know that it's not the truth. I have been, at times, lazy. But that does not mean I don't work hard, 1313. That doesn't mean that I haven't worked. Doesn't mean I don't know the language of effort. I've been trying to prove to my family that I love them and that I'm good enough for my entire life. It has been a struggle. I finally realized that I'm good enough for God no matter what. Fuck them. The ones that are young enough to debate on this topic, I love you. Oh my God, do I love you. I am so sorry. But I'm still here and I'm still working. You may not see it. But I know you hear me tell you I love you and you don't ever have to prove it. Someone in my family, actually the person that the state gave my children to, 1414, told my children that, they used to say I love you all the time. I will never forget those days. But I would get irritated by it, of course. When my aunt got irritated, I'm sorry, yep, it was my aunt. My aunt was able to take my children, she is a foster to my children, and I'm very grateful to her for fostering my children. But she would tell them, or she had told my youngest at one point, and my daughter is the one that told CPS this. So obviously my daughter, being just a little bit older in age, still knew better. Knew that when Jenny said, and it's my Aunt Jenny. Fuck it, Aunt Jenny, if you can hear me. truth be known, you told my kids they had to prove that they love you. And it was not a joke. It was not a joke. If it was a joke, Daisy would have known it was a joke. In the context in which Daisy was present in, it would have been conceived as a joke. Fine would have laughed. There would have been a comedy special about it. She would have been telling everybody instead of withholding it. But she told my children they had to prove it, and they believed her. No. If you are trying to prove to someone that you love them or that you're good enough, they're not good enough for you. Period, point blank, bottom line, end of story. That is that. But this and that are true. She still said it. And how they took it was not positive. And yet when CPS, it was brought to their attention, CPS said, oh, that was a joke, dismissed it, and here we are today. And yet that's not why they were taken. That's not why she had them in her care. She had them in her care because I was asking for help from every family member I knew was capable of taking care of children for longer than an hour and a half. And because I needed to get to a place where I could collect myself. I was crying every day. I also lost a child at that point. But I didn't want to think about it. And I didn't tell anybody that. It wasn't an abortion. It was a baby. It was a miscarriage. It was going to be too hard for that little one to go through at that time. But I knew I still had, and probably have, a child in spirit. Whether they're going to come through or not is beyond me. I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry, 1721. 1720, 1721. It was at the 10 pinnacle, because 17 plus 2, 1 plus 7 is 10. 7, or 2 plus 4, or 1, I'm sorry, 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 7 is 11. So 10, 11. It's like we're moving up. We're getting the stability. We're getting ourselves situated, separated, and we're trying to understand. We're trying to reconnect. We're trying to resurrect our story. Because this is not a bad story. I have not had a bad life. I've just been efforting. I've been swimming against the tide. I've been swimming downstream at points. Rush, 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 hurry, 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 make it happen now. It doesn't matter either way. I'm not going to get out and go to the shore and give up. Because I still have another, 2-hour-long tube trip. I have an inner tube. I don't even have to worry about treading water laying on my back going down that river. That tube that I sit in is circular like the Ouroboros. Round and round we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. But I have faith that my story is not finished until it feels like heaven on this earth, in this body, with this energy. It's not always positive. These emotions aren't always positive. I really want this message to be. I just saw mist go over that bush. Maybe you'll hear these cicadas next year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those aren't even fucking cicadas. But if you don't know, that's because they're in their 7-year cycle and their 7-year process underground. Solitude is not isolation. Solitude is where you're supposed to be learning via experience. Do you suffer when you read? Do you suffer when you listen? Do you suffer when you hear, learn, understand, know? Do you suffer in faith? Do you suffer in belief? What are your beliefs? Maybe you are suffering in something you believe. Do you believe that it's okay for other people to talk shit about other people? Do you join in? Do you discourage it? Do you fight it? Or do you just listen, nod your head, and contemplate? Do you discern, or do you immediately judge? Judgment is reactive. Discernment is responsive. We're not passive aggressive. We're not going to do one thing and say another. We're not going to ease into brutality. The truth doesn't hurt because you already know it. And there's a helicopter going over. I don't know if you can hear it. And if you don't know something, then it's probably because you don't need to know. If you're in a relationship with someone and their behavior is hurting you, and they don't know, well, you explain it to them. And if you've explained that their behavior is hurting you, and they say, I'm not trying to hurt you, I understand that hurting you hurts me, and so I would never do that. I don't want you to hurt. And you say, well, when you do this, it does hurt, and they continue to do it. They're being ignorant. They don't care. They are numb. They are apathetic. And we can go from there. And it makes you angry. Of course it does. You hear my voice switch up and down. Apathy is still underneath anger. It's the Petri dish experiment. If you don't know, now you know. This is how it happened. I don't know what his name is. Starts with an M. It's a fun word. It's Japanese, it sounds like anyways. And he had 3 Petri dishes. He put rice in the bottom of each one and added water. One day he would tell one Petri dish, oh, I love you so much. I love you. I believe the rice, or maybe it was just water. It was just water. I don't know why I always add ice to this story. Or rice. Oh, because of freezing ice rice. Ah! 23:17. That's 13. Anyways, so he put water in 3 Petri dishes, and he put them on the mantle at his house. The first Petri dish, he said, I love you, I love you, I love you too. Gave it all types of good affirmations, made sure everyone else gave it all good types of good affirmations. It had to be rice because there was mold. Anyways, and on it goes. The second one he'd say, I hate you, and spit on it and tear it through the mud and just make it feel terrible, right? Or make terrible, does water have feelings? Yes, of course. So he would make it feel terrible. Androgynous. Primordial group. Where do we come from? One can't be 2. The 2 goes into the 1 and becomes 3. Regardless, today we're back to that. Okay, anyways, second one he'd say, I hate you, and walk away from, and then walk away. On the third, he just would not even acknowledge that it was there. Is it best that you just dump out the water, or that you pretend like it's not there? Because eventually it evaporates. But the first one, was clear and beautiful, or I don't know, started growing the stalks of rice or whatever, it turned out the optimal experience, right? The second one was gross. It had like mildew, or it had like, moldy or whatever, or like a film. I think it was a film. The third had like a smudge, like a tar almost, slime and sludge, like had that on top of the water where it sat. Ponds that have life in them. I don't know what that came. Ponds that have life in them. Oh, in the winter, the fish stay underwater because it doesn't freeze all the way. It's deep enough that it won't freeze all the way. However, in the summertime, in the springtime, when the ice melts, and I have to review this book again, but when the ice melts, the fish movement of the fish avoids the stagnancy of the pond. But if you stop, I hear you, hello, I can see your little wings every time he squeaks his wings, flap, flap, flap. But there has to be life there. If there's no life there, it can be stagnant, and then there gets to be a smudge, and everything neglects it. Do you neglect those you love? Do you just pretend like they're not there? Do you effort with them like they're a burden? Or do you cheer them up, make them feel good, and love on them? It's one thing to ignore them altogether, pretend they're not there. The love begins to stagnate. What does she say in Robin Hood? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yes, it does, but it could also make the heart grow forgetful. That's what it's Maid Marian and her I don't know, the big hen. What was she? I wanted to say housewife. Her I don't know, her best friend, basically, her confidant. Maid Marian, so Mary might be Marie, Miriam, Marian. Oh, Gigi. Oh, Gigi. Daisy, I just got to see your Gigi. She just flew away. Marian. Marian was just here, and Maid Marian in the, not the Fox and the Hound, in Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood, she says, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Oh, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And the Irish hen says, or forgetful. Apathy isn't forgetfulness. Apathy is numbness. But it's also denying. It's also pretending that you're comfortable where you're not. It's stagnancy. It's fear. But these are all words that are on one perception of the perspective they wanted me to say, but of the teeter-totter, depending on which is up to you. Do you like to be alone? It just means you're by yourself. That doesn't make you lonely. But here's the long and short of it. Sometimes you need to be lonely, bitch. Sometimes you need to be lonely because you have to learn how to love yourself. If you don't, who will? But God. I said that in my last video, but it's 41 minutes long. I don't think anybody wants to listen to something, but this is getting to be a half an hour. I almost choked on my spit. I did choke on my spit when I said that. God, just being... Oh, and yawn for confirmation. Just being in this energy, being in the containment of the channel, of the connection, of the love, unconditional. It's being in this, that, where I feel best. I mean, where I feel absolutely satisfied, beyond when I'm with my children. And I'm more than satisfied with my children. They can do nothing to improve our relationship because they have no options. The one that does, well, maybe she'll hear it. But her Gigi loves her. I love you too, Gigi. And Daisy loves you. And she knows. But the subtleties of the synchronicities, how do you know someone if they don't tell you their truth? How do you get to know someone if you can't ask people questions? How do you get to know someone if when they answer your questions they're not truthful? They don't become vulnerable. They're not brave enough to let you in, to trust. You have to be brave enough to trust. Trust, truth, consciousness, connection, and love, which is life. That's the Trinity. I guess that's what I had to say about that. I guess that's all I have to say about that. Jenny in the movie Forrest Gump ran away from something that scared her. I'm sure it was her dad's situation. And she said, "Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here." And that was a terrible... My God, I can do perfect impersonations. That was a terrible impersonation of Jenny from Forrest Gump, but the spirit guides are concocted by ourselves because those are animals and they're just connected to you as God, as the air you breathe. Domesticated animals have loyalty. Wild animals have faith. When you befriend a wild animal, that animal gives you faith. When you bring in a domesticated animal, that domesticated animal is loyal. But when a wild animal chooses you, that's love. When a feral being becomes docile, when you can show your soft white underbelly, when you can stand in the gap, you don't have to prove it to anybody but you and God. And He's living it with you. One set of footprints in the sand as He goes through your eyes. He is living through your vessel. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I love you. 3411, 711. May you be blessed. May you have a beautiful evening. May you, and love you like I do. Love you like I do. Love him like I do. Bliss out, bitch. Bliss out, bro. Bliss out, boo-boo. Bye.